spied this at a thrift store, and I'm like, oh, hearts, grab and go, grab and go. If you're a reseller, they do sell. But this one had some brokenness. I thought the $222 price was a little too good. The controversial heart shelves. I don't know why people hate some hearts, but they're back in style and we can sell them. So this was at the thrift store for $222. And at first I'm like, oh, because it's a heart and they don't like it. It has the pegs. In a estate sale, I picked up a whole, I don't need 9. I picked up 9 heart shelves, different, and they're selling like hotcakes. I actually could use some more, but I figured out when I went to take a picture for y'all that it's broken. So it's broken. Let's just cut it off right there. Make the other one a matching set. There we go. Does that change the way that the shelf is? Nope, it does not. It still will hold stuff. Okay, get that store tag off. So, I mean, I know I could almost just do it as is, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to put some wax on it, and we're going to do some chippy white. I think we look very country cottage grandma core going on there. So I just wanted to shape that a little bit, kind of going down how the other angle is, so it doesn't look like I just freshly cut it. There's kind of like, it must have been sitting in a shed or something, because there's buildup in the corner that I feel like I should wipe down before doing too much to it. I'm going to not paint the back, but I do want to have clean lines if all possible. So I'm going to go ahead and tape it off. I'm going to use some Sweet Pickens flour sack. My go-to, this is my go-to white, but I think it'd be really pretty keeping it a neutral of white. So as you see, the milk paint is a powder paint that you mix with water. Directions say equal parts water, but I kind of make it a little bit thicker because I'm usually looking for character of chippiness, grazing, crackling. On this one, I'm going to be putting some Sweet Pickens beeswax on to hopefully not adhere so it looks old and chippy. This is the beeswax bar. When it first comes, it has pretty little bees on it, but I've used this a few times. So you just run it over your item. I'm not pre-sanding or anything because I'm looking for an old timey look. So I'm just going to rub it on. There is a little bit of stain here, but we're going to be covering that up. But I want to make sure that I do it on the whole thing. It's hard because you can't see where you've been. So it's a guesstimate. Now I mix mine up thicker so you can see that it's set up a little. If you can't move it, you're not going to be able to paint with it. So I'm just going to add a little dab of water, a little bit more because it thickens up more when it's sitting. And then just mix that in. And then I'm going to go ahead and start painting. Pegs are hard because you can't really see all your angles, but you just have to go for it. Do my difficult piece first. Now when I'm doing milk paint, I'm not going in and trying to spread it around. I'm doing it like a gentle, kind of just helping it along, spread out, not forcing it. So it's thick. It's not your thin paint. I didn't want my hearts to pool up too much. we got a lot of chippiness going on there. I'm going to go ahead and spray it with weather defense. And there's some thin spots. It definitely is going to need 2 coats, but I don't want to just paint right over that because I let it sit up and dry overnight. If I tried to paint, I would just be creating a mess. But whew, that is a lot of chippiness. So just going to seal it in with some of the weather defense and go from there. See, here's where that thin spot is. You can tell there just was not enough paint on there. So I don't want that to be in my finished look. Oh yeah, as soon as you start touching it, it all starts to chip off. So whatever chips off is what's going to chip off, and then we'll work from there. So I'm going to go ahead and make up another batch of the flour sack because of course I let this dry overnight, so that batch is hard and jellified. I used most of it up anyway. But I do want the chippy look. That's a little too much chippiness. So I'm just going to do that same beeswax. Remember, I sealed this in. The shininess is the weather defense. So I'm just, that's the hard thing with the wax. You're like, how much do I have on? And I didn't want to pre-sand this because I liked that color of the stain that they put on this pine piece. And if I would have sanded it, I would have brought it down to a lighter wood. And that dark stain with this white is just amazing look. It's just the process we do to get the look that we want. And if I hadn't run short on time, I might have put a second coat on yesterday, but I think it still would have all chipped off anyway. So I think spraying it with the weather defense is going to help. Okay, that seems a lot less chippy though. As you can tell, it's still going to chip. So whatever, at this point, whatever chips, chips. So I'm just going to run a sander over it. So it's always so funny. You're looking for chippiness, and then you get all nervous when you get the chippiness. Like, is it too much? Is it not enough? But you just have to go with it. My main concern was that it looked like it had enough paint on it. Get that tape off because I have that crusty edge. I'm not gentle. Whatever's going to chip off is going to chip off now. And that's what it is. So now I'm just going to seal the milk paint in a little bit more with some clear wax by Fusion. Yet again, I'm not going to be gentle. More wants to come off than it's going to come off. But with that dark underneath, I don't feel any need to do any dark wax, just the clear. I'm always attracted to these old cutting boards, and I'm like, I know it has handles, but that patina is always amazing. Okay, note to self, if you find one of these, don't grab it by the handles. In the thrift store, when I was carrying that art shelf, I'm like, I grabbed it by the handle. Next thing you know, the handle came out, and then it fell on my toe. It did. I'm like, ouch, darn it all. And they didn't even give me a discount. I still bought it because I knew I could glue it back together. It was the wood that attracted me, not the handles. I was going to remove the handles anyway, but they just came out really easy. So all I'm going to do is just take some Titebond glue, some clamps, and we're going to glue this back together. Yes, that Titebond glue, it'll wipe right off. I'm just getting rid of the squish out. I clamped it the long way to tighten it, and then the other clamps on the side to make sure that it stayed flat. And see, it's easy enough to glue back together. Now I'm just going to mix up a little bit of wood putty. This is just the Bondo my go-to one. I figure I have it clamped. I have to wait for that glue to dry anyway. Why not fill those holes that I plan on filling anyway? So as you see, it's a putty, and then it has a little bit of a hardener, and then you just mix the two together. And then as soon as they're mixed together, they start working. So you need to work with it. You can't just set it off to the side. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill those holes in, kind of overfill them a little bit so that I know that they're completely filled in. Pretty sure my Bondo set up before my glue did, but I'm going to go ahead and get that sand smooth because the longer you let it sit, the harder it is to sand. I just absolutely love the patina of old wood. Even you can see the burn marks on the bottom. It's all good. So all I'm going to do is, I planned it anyway, just filling in the holes and painting the edge. And I thought I would do just a fun color on the edge. So one of my favorite breadboards has green on the side of it. So I'm going to go ahead and use Eden, which is a nice green. I'm doing the DIY paint because I can wipe it off if I get it where I don't want it to be. This is, even though it's been used as a cutting board, it's still pretty raw wood. So that's all I'm doing, using a fan brush just to slightly just get the edge. There's a nice, because I sanded the whole edge when I was doing the Bondo sanding, that I have a nice crisp edge for my brush to catch on. So my paint is dry. Now I'm just going to take some 220 sandpaper, kind of just sand it where it's touching above. We want to make it look like it's just always been on there. A little bit on the edges there. I'm going to use some of the Tough Coat Clear in the matte finish. Poured it out into a little cup using a makeup sponge. That way I'm just getting it on the edge to seal that. You have to seal your DIY paint in with something, and I think this is a perfect way to do this. You don't want to spray it, or you don't want anything that's too glossy. I don't know. It's a little cubby. People love little cubbies. I mean, it is a little cubby. I don't, there's not much I like about it other than I had drawers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take out the drawers. I'm not going to use the poles that are on there. I'll change those out. It just looked like they're kind of odd. Like a, there, yeah. So you push it in and then it opens up, but I'm going to reuse that hole, so I don't need to fill in the hole. Got them out. So I'm thinking that I can cut it, because look, it's kind of got some weirdness, but I have to leave that part, but I can't take it over to the bandsaw and see what we can do here. To try to get an even, like I said, I have to go underneath a little bit. I can't go flush because it'll take it off. So these are always nice. Little spindle, cut it down, be able to attach them above that smaller. I'd like to put another piece of wood. It's kind of weird back there. It just stops. So I'm just going to take the Japanese saw and see if I can. Just went over to our scrap bin, see if we had anything, and I think that will work. Type on glue. Okay, I got a bottom on it, so now I'm going to go ahead and sand it. I do think it's cedar. You probably all were saying that. I'm like, once you sand it, you can definitely smell the cedar. It looked like cedar, and it smells like cedar. So I'm going to use some Type Bond to glue them on. Natural wood to natural wood. I got that pretty flat. I'm going to have to wait a little bit of time for these to dry. If they look too tall, I could always take them back over and, sand them or cut them down. So I let this dry overnight. There was no way to like nail it into place or anything. But I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't know. I think the legs that length are very cute. Let's try maybe kind of envision it with the little drawer. But I like the size of them. I think they're cute, especially with that little extra bump out. I know it seems silly to put shellac back on after I sanded shellac off, but different top coat. And this one I'm just using it to help grab the paint. So I'm just going to give it a nice little coat to even out the porosity of the wood and help my next paint bond onto it. I'm a huge fan, if you're new to this channel, to the old-timey paint look. So I'm going to be using Fusion's Milk Paint in Vintage Laurel. So the milk paint that I used earlier gives you bigger crackles and crazing and chippiness. This one gives little bitty ones and some different texture, I noticed, but I love the color. There's many similarities between the two paints. You just have to choose which one you like and what you're looking for on the project that you're doing. This is a very pretty green. I didn't need to make up very much at all. But the thing that I do notice, like when mixing them, you don't need like half, like if you did equal parts, it's way too much water. So I would just keep adding little by little until you get the consistency you're looking for and you're comfortable with painting with. This is one of the reasons I'm a fan of these Stallmaster Meester brushes, because it has that little tip, and look how well I can just get around that little edge. The thing just keeps getting cuter and cuter, and see, it does crackle, and it just, for some reason, it has texture like those little lumps no matter how much I beat it with my knife. I guess if you used electric mixer, but I don't mind it because I like the character of it. As I said, it's just a completely different crackling process than what the sweet pick. They're two different makers. So now I'm just going to go in and sand it a little bit. Nope, I can't get the sander in that part. So what I'm doing is, you're still going to see the texture, but I want to feel it be smoother, because right now it's just raised bumpy. Okay, now I'm going to seal my milk paint in. Now that, oh, I love that top. Love that top. I'm going to start off with clear to seal the paint in. You have to seal your milk paint in with something. And I like what the wax does. Yes, I left the little feeties natural. Not necessarily natural, but the way that they were. And I am going to add just a little bit of the aging wax, just to see if they'll stick into the little, oh yeah, the details. I didn't want it to change the green very much, as I wanted it just to get into the cracks and crazings and where it's chipped off. Now you see why I left the hole there. I'm like, because I have to drill a new hole and I have the center already. And so I'm just using the ones that I get out of the one gentleman's booth. Here locally, though, I need to figure out how much of this I need to cut off. And I don't know if these are going to fit in here or not, if I take it over to the vise and hold them, but we'll see. I always have to cut them down. These are porcelain. I did have somebody say that you can get them on Temu. I've never ordered from Temu. Oh, nope, I can fit in there. There. And then we have another little knob. This is my last sheep that I have. These are just amazing. I did find Creative Co-op. I had to get okay to buy them wholesale. And then there was all these rules. But anyway, I'm going to paint one of these up because I love to do them. And I know you guys have watched me do them 101 times. But this is the Rust-Oleum enamel in the flat white. So now we have to flip it over and do the other side. So now my spray paint has dried overnight. It is good and dry. And now I'm going to go in with Fusion's Clear Wax. And then Decrepit Dust. I don't know if I'm going to use the red, but I know I am going to give this some age and some character. I know I'm going to be using the dark. So I'm just going to wax on, working in sections. It might have a little, my brush may still have a little antiquing wax in there, but that's okay. You think you wash them all out, but it's all good. I'm not going to stress over it. And then I'm just going to sprinkle some of this on. And then just kind of pounce it in with another brush, dry brush. Gotta make sure we're working around the entire piece. And then I'm just going to go back through, tap a little bit so that it doesn't have like a consistent texture, just with a shop cloth. So the biggest thing is you just want to make sure you get everything covered. Get the highlights where you want the highlights to be, like on the face. Look at how it sticks into the detail. So now I'm going to spray some Weather Defense to seal it in. I always resell this with some type of greenery in it. So I have the Dollar Tree floral foam, and I think it fits about all 4 of these in here. And it does. And then to cover up the floral foam, I just have, you can use Spanish moss. I just have this green paper. If I could find it. I bought it at a garage sale. I'd buy it in a heartbeat because it was a huge old bag of it. And then I have these little, they're candle rings that I get from CWI Gifts. And then I just kind of break the grapevine wreath that's around it, and then use these little floral picks, which you could use bobby pins if you wanted to. Oh, and then I just kind of fill it up that way. So I cut the little tag off. This is a wholesale company. And then I kind of just break it. You know, we all just kind of fill it up and work what works for us.